Good morning, Ron, and good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, July 1st. Here's what's happening. The Supreme Court has ruled that states can ban transgender girls, that is, biological boys, from competing in women's sports. The Hill's Zach Schoenfeld reports.
This is an opinion authored by Justice Brett Kavanaugh. He is joined here by all members of the conservative majority. I'm just going to read you here right from the opinion. He says, quote, "In other words, may schools determine eligibility for women's and girls' sports based on biological sex? The answer is yes." So there you have it. The Supreme Court, all 6 conservative justices, upholding these laws in Idaho and West Virginia, rejecting challenges to these laws that had been lodged under both the Constitution's 14th Amendment.
The decision came down 6-3. Also yesterday, the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship. The court ruled Trump's executive order to eliminate the 14th Amendment, its guarantee that those born in the U.S. are American citizens, was unlawful. The case came from a lawsuit filed by the ACLU in New Hampshire last year. Trump's executive order was never in effect after courts across the country blocked it from being implemented. And in an upcoming case, the Supreme Court will decide whether AR-15 and similar rifles are protected by the Second Amendment. The justices will hear arguments during their next term on challenges to bans on the weapons in Connecticut and Chicago, but their decision will also impact laws in roughly 10 other states. In other news, the Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, has penned a letter to the leader of the Society of St. Pius X, making a personal plea for the group to abandon its plans for a slate of illicit episcopal consecrations set to take place today in Switzerland. Quote, "I plead with you and ask you with all my heart, please turn back," the Holy Father wrote. Quote, "I urge you to carefully consider the spiritual good of the faithful, because the schismatic act you are about to undertake would deprive them of the illicit and, in some cases, even valid reception of the sacraments, which they love and seek for their sanctification." Elsewhere in the letter, the Pope said, quote, "Please do not tear the seamless garment of Christ." The Holy See has repeatedly warned the Society that the planned consecrations for new bishops would be a schismatic act and incur the penalty of excommunication. The death toll in Venezuela has climbed to over 1,700 following last week's powerful earthquakes. The effort to find survivors is ongoing, but rescuers say they are pulling out more bodies, saying this is slowly turning into a recovery operation. The number of missing stands in the tens of thousands. And the Diocese of Las Cruces, New Mexico, is fighting the Trump administration in court after the federal government announced it will be acquiring diocesan-owned land through eminent domain in order to build a border wall. At the center of the dispute is Mount Cristo Rey, a small mountain with a nearly 100-year-old statue of Jesus, which has been a pilgrimage site for decades. Earlier this week, Bishop Peter Baldacchino celebrated Mass atop the mountain. The next court hearing is in July. I'm Matthew Handley and Ron Finn. That is the news this morning.